The high collar on this shirt really makes it so long hair doesn't work, but I don't like any of the short hairs. The game, once again, of the day is Final Fantasy XIV. And today, having delved into the Binding Coil last time, today we're going to be tackling another of the Extreme Mode Primals. After Garuda Extreme comes Titan Extreme, and he's every bit the horror that you think he's going to be. Though, after 2.2, he is much easier than he was before, if only because of the Echo buff. If you fight him, or any of the Extreme Mode Primals, for more than 3 minutes, and then wipe, all of your stats will be boosted 5%, up to a maximum of 25%. So let's get ready to do us some Titan Extreme. I would suggest not going through the Duty Finder. You see, the Duty Finder, you're not even going to get past the heart phase going through the Duty Finder, but it's good for early practice. Now, what I would suggest instead is going through the Party Finder. Start the Duty Finder as practice, then move to the Party Finder when you're ready. Now, before you dive straight on into this, I do suggest going to the character configuration options, turning HP bar settings always on, turning your party members' names off, and your party members' HP bar settings always on. This will be exceptionally useful once we get in to actually give it a go. Now, to get the Extreme Mode Primals done now, I would suggest starting by Duty Findering to get a little bit of practice in the early phases of the fight. Then I would suggest getting into a practice party that has the intent of looking at later phases, such as post-heart. You're still probably not going to get a win. The norm anymore seems to be, when you're trying to get your first win, to join a weekly party. I will say, though, know what you're doing and be able to win if you're going to join a weekly party. Otherwise, you're just going to tick off the people who are just there for the weekly win. Now, Titan Extreme, unlike its predecessor, which had 5, maybe 6 phases to it, has but 4 phases to it. The first 2 phases, followed by the heart phase, and then the fourth and final phase, will repeat until he dies. Now, I completely forgot to actually record the segment here preceding the video, or actually I did and then deleted it because it took so long to get an actual win. So, I'm not going to be joining a party finder or anything here. Instead, let's go ahead and skip over to the actual party that I finally got around to getting the win for this video in. Now, we can't see a darn thing through the smoke, but we are ready to go. Now, the HP bar settings are so it's very easy to tell where you are in relation to the other members of the group. As usual, you will be greeted to a cutscene that you'll generally want to skip. Once all is said and done, the tank will pull. Wait for the tank to turn him around before I go and start beating on him. Now, because of the landslide right here, I will generally stand off to the side at the very beginning. Throughout the vast majority of this fight, you will want to be stacked very tightly behind Titan. And that's everybody stacks very tightly behind Titan. Melee DPS, range DPS, healers, everybody. I think even the off-tank. Everybody. Only at the very beginning here do I run off to the side, and that's because I, A, may be able to lead this landslide away from everybody else, and B, if the landslide isn't pointed at me, I don't have to worry about dodging anything, but that is this one time. You'll see that the arena is as large as it is at the beginning of a regular Titan, and now I go to stack behind him. Which brings us to the second attack that he'll be using during the first phase, Weight of the Land, or Plumes. Now this is the pure reason that you will want to stack with everybody else throughout this fight. And that's because Weight of the Land will hit almost everybody. If you're spread out, you'll leave yourself with almost nowhere to run to, especially in the later stages of the fight. So everybody stacks up, and stack up tightly. This is why I suggested turning your HP bar on, everybody's HP bar on, so you can see exactly where you need to be in relation to everybody else. As soon as you see it show up, run off to the side, it goes back, and run right back where he was and keep beating on him. For the first phase of the fight, he only has those two attacks. Now, Landslide right now isn't too big of a threat, because there are, of course, walls around the outside of the arena, and you can't get knocked off, but that will be changing. So he goes back to Landslide, as we saw there, and then Plumes will be coming up once again, so we're all stacked up nice and tight. Oh, but no, we've actually not gotten a second set of Plumes. We've pushed him into his second phase. Now, the second phase, he will, of course, jump into the air and come down and use a... I forget what the attack is even called, we'll see in a moment. But when he comes down, he will actually break away the outside of the arena, and he will break away a lot more of the arena than he did in hard mode, leaving you with an arena about the size of the Heart phase during hard mode. You can see where I'm standing right now is on a small square that sticks out just in front of where the tank is. I like picking on this tiny square to stand on because it will be just on the inside of the break. And now you have a very tiny platform to continue fighting on. Now in this phase, he's got a couple new attacks. The very first move he will be using is Landslide once again. Only now it's a three-way landslide. It's not that much worse than it was before as long as you're paying attention and can run. With the patches to lag and server delay and the like that actually came with 2.2, if not earlier, I don't especially remember. But thanks to those patches, you no longer have to move before you see the thing appear. Back in the day, and what made hard mode so difficult, was you had to know the pattern so well that you could dodge before it even appeared, or just due to lag you would still get hit by it. With that fixed, you can just run off to the side. And the three-way shouldn't be that big a deal as long as everybody's stacked up. Now the second attack that he does is, of course, the Granite Jails. One will always get put on a DPS of some form, and one will always get put on a healer. They come twofold this time. The DPS jams himself right up Titan's butt. Do not go so far that you are in front of Titan. Make sure you're behind him, but get right there. The healer, on the other hand, has to go as far away from this one as possible, right to the edge of the arena. Now this is for two reasons. One, the two Granite Jails actually gain a defense buff depending on how close together they are. If they're right next to each other, you're not going to be breaking either of them before Granite Sepulture just kills the people inside. The second reason is you're going to want to DPS this Granite Jail down as fast as possible because Titan's getting ready to sumo stomp, which knocks everybody away from Titan. And this is why everybody, excluding the healer that got jailed far away, also needs to jam themselves right up his butt. Again, don't get in front of him. This will knock you away from Titan, so if you're in front of Titan, when he stomps, you're just going to go flying off the 3 inches of land that's in front of him. Once you're behind him, though, your goal is to kill the granite jail before he stomps. When he stomps, it will knock you back, and if you're standing in the right position and the healer's standing in the right position, it should land you right next to the granite jail. So destroy this one as fast as possible. You saw a landslide actually goes off while you're beating on this second granite jail. Now, we don't have the most DPS in the world here. You'll notice for some odd reason the Summoner and Bard aren't even attacking this granite jail. They have 0 hate on it. But since we don't have the most DPS against this, or in this fight, we don't have to worry about it so much, but do not kill the granite jail before landslide goes off, or at the very least make sure the jail isn't on top of a landslide. Otherwise, you're going to free that healer and they're just going to go flying off the edge. So do be careful. Then kill the granite jail and get right back on Titan. Once again, everybody clump up behind him, as he is wont to do. He still has his stomps that he had in hard mode. However, in hard mode, how they slowly amped up to be more and more and more until at the end of the fight he was doing some 7-odd stomps. Here, he does not do that many stomps. Instead, he only uses, I believe, 4 stomps. He will use 4 from the beginning, but he doesn't keep using more. So that is something you'll want to be ready to heal. On top of the stomps, he also... Well, there's a weight of the land again, so once again, that's why we're all stacked up behind him. He also still has Mountain Buster, so that is, again, something that the healers are going to want to be aware of. Also, of note, is there is a tank swap mechanic in this fight, and I think it's Mountain Buster that actually puts a status effect on the tank. And I believe it's normally after 2 or 3 stacks of that status effect, the tanks are going to want to swap. I'm not exactly sure what the status effect does, but I believe it's a defense down buff, so you're going to be taking more and more damage, and beyond 2 or 3, you're just going to get wrecked. I think that's what it is. Could be wrong. Regardless, you'll want to swap after 2 or 3. Now he went right back to Stomps, or right back to Plumes, then Landslide, then Plumes again. All things that I've explained how to deal with so far, then Mountain Buster again. And then come the Bomb Boulders, which, as in hard mode, the Bomb Boulders are still here. And he will do a Landslide while he's doing them. Now, at this point, he will always do the same style of Bomb Boulders, which is where just a little more than half of the arena is covered by them. So, of course, you want to run to the open half and then be ready to dodge a landslide while you're waiting in that open half. Of note, it will not always be the left side, as you saw here, that will be free. Sometimes it'll be left, sometimes it'll be the right, sometimes it'll be the back, sometimes it'll be the front, right where Titan is standing. And that one is perhaps the trickiest, if only because it requires the cooperation of all of the players. If everybody isn't on the same page on that one, you can very easily get a landslide that just covers the entire area that you have to move on. What I would suggest is jamming yourself almost in front of Titan. Still be off to the side, you don't want to get hit by anything, but almost in front of him so you have room to move to the right. Don't get too close to the bomb boulders. A difference between the bomb boulders in here than in hard mode is they have a much larger range than they did in hard mode. If you're in the same time zone as that bomb boulder, you will get hit by it. So after the bomb boulders, we've successfully pushed him into the heart phase. This is generally about when it happens. There is occasional... I think what comes next is a granite jail. We, at this point, I believe, have the full 25% buff of the Echo because we were doing horribly at this. So we managed to get him done sooner. But I believe granite jail comes next after that. And that does, however, push him into the heart phase. You see him crash down, and now the arena is even smaller than it was before. Beat on Titan's heart. This is another DPS check phase. So, beat on Titan's heart, take it down as fast as possible. But, as soon as this phase starts, immediately get behind Titan and group up. Because the first thing he's going to do is plumes. Then you can get back and unload on him a fair bit. Up next, of course, is the granite jails. Now, this is where it's even more important to jam yourself up his butt, because you have very little room. If you're standing very far back at all, you will just fly off the edge. Now, you saw there, that's where we would not have wanted to kill the granite jail too soon. But, now back to beating on Titan's heart. Now, perhaps one of the hardest parts of dealing with the heart phase is, I believe, what's coming up soon, which is the bomb boulders and landslide combination, because he uses the clock pattern to them. Yep, there we go. And we've managed to kill him in time, so we don't actually have to worry about dodging a landslide at the same time as this. But you saw, when the clock boulders come down, somebody marked the first one to drop. You don't have to mark it necessarily, but it is very important to note where it is. You see, in this phase, Titan doesn't use just a 3-way landslide. He uses a 5-way landslide, which leaves you very, very little room to dodge it, especially on such a tiny platform. So, to handle this phase, what you do is just take note approximately where the first bomb boulder fell. You don't have to know exactly which one it is, just approximately. Here, we know it landed somewhere on the right side of the arena. So as soon as they've all fallen, landslide is going to be coming down very soon after. So start moving to the left side of the arena, away from that first one that dropped. You're going to want to run to the left side of the arena and focus on dodging landslide. You don't have to worry about dodging the boulders or the pattern of them or anything. You're getting to the left side, so you've got a little bit of time to think before the bomb boulders are exploding. So you get to the left side, make sure that you're not going to get hit by landslide. Once landslide actually hits, run then back to the center of the arena. You've got plenty of time before the bomb boulders actually work their way around to the other side and back to the center. Once you get to the center, run then to the open side where there are no more boulders. It's a little bit of a dance, but being able to dodge that is the easiest way through this fight. If you can manage to beat him before the landslide, then it's as simple as waiting in the middle until the first bomb explodes, and everybody runs off to the side. Now, of course, this is where he is using Titan's Fury, or Earthen Fury. It's going to hurt, but heal up and go beat on him. Now we're in the post-heart phase. This is the final phase of the fight, and it lasts a while. You'll notice he just summoned 2 adds. The potatoes, the eggies. This is where the off-tank has a very, very important role. The off-tank is going to grab both of these Titan eggies, the granite jailer, and haul them off to one side of the arena. Now, the goal here, and a goal that we did a terrible job of, is killing these 2 eggies at almost the same time. The reason for this is, once you kill one of them, he poos a large mud pit on the ground. that makes it very difficult to move, and against Titan, movement is key. Since they will both drop one, you will want them both killed in approximately the same location. Now, of note is these Eggies actually have many of the same attacks that Titan does. For example, they have Landslide. Now, while you're fighting them, be wary of their attacks and be wary of dodging them. Also, be aware that Titan just summoned the bomb boulders once again. He will always do this very specific pattern of bomb boulders. You see the one that just dropped down here? That is the first one that will drop. Another one will drop just a little bit off to the side. Since the one we're standing on now is the one that will explode first, get away from it. Stand near the other bomb boulders. However, a landslide is coming soon. However, that landslide will hit before any of the bomb boulders explode. So get as close as possible to the safe bomb boulder before landslide hits. Once landslide hits, get as close to that bomb boulder as you can so you don't get hit by the other bomb boulders. Then as soon as one of those explodes, get over to where it is. You see, I did actually get hit by the bomb boulder there. I got hit by the one that was in the center, I believe. But you'll want to get into the open space then, so the second set of bomb boulders don't kill you. By now, you can see we've killed one of the Eggies, so they've pooed the mud pit onto the ground. This is making it very difficult to dodge, and is going to be very important for what's coming next. Which, I'll add, I constantly forget will come. Plumes. You want to take care of the plume, you want to be ready to dodge the plumes. We killed the Eggies fast enough that it wasn't as big an issue. We could generally all group up behind Titan for them. However, that's not always the case. Sometimes you're still killing an Eggie while that's still up. You want to be aware that the plumes are coming. And you want to not be standing in a mud pit when it happens, or you're not going to be able to dodge them. If the Eggie's not dead by the time the plumes come up, melee won't be able to group up as easily as the ranged and healers, who will always be at the far south of the arena, of course, aside from getting hit by landslide and bomb boulders. But they, ranged and healers will be at the far south end, and they'll already be grouped up. Melee has it a little bit harder because they've got to dodge the mud pit, they've got to dance back and forth between a couple of the bomb boulders off to the side and the like. But the best advice I can say is to stack on top of the off tank that has the Eggie if you're a melee DPS. At the very least, then, you shouldn't be fudging each other over. But once that happens, the plumes come. Dodge the plumes. If you're stacked with the off tank, dodge them, whatever. Make sure the Eggies are dead, and then get back on Titan. Now, why the tank has decided to bring him off to the side is beyond me. Now, another interesting mechanic you'll see is the jails. The granite jails just got put on us once again. We're breaking them as fast as possible. I believe if the granite jailers, the Eggies, are still alive by the time the granite jails show up, something bad happens. And I forget what exactly, but it probably involves instant death of some form. So once again, we're all grouped up on the back end of Titan, and next up, something new should be happening. Well, after Stomps and Mountain Buster and the like, because that's pretty normal. Plumes, followed by more plumes. That is a double set of plumes. Now, this double set of plumes, everybody, of course, wants to stack up You dodge to the left. As soon as you get out of range of the first plumes, stop and wait. As soon as you see the second set of plumes show up, run right back behind Titan. Honestly, that's almost what you should be doing to dodge the plumes anyway. Just run to the side, then when the plume's gone, you run back. So it's really not much different from what you should normally be doing, as long as everybody's on the same page. Continuing to beat down Titan then, a new set of bomb boulders are going to show up. These are the 3 rows. Of course, you should be paying attention here to what the first and last bomb boulders that dropped are. The ones in the middle will always be the first to drop, at least in my experience. So you then run to the side that had the last to drop. Dodge a landslide, as I'm sure you're used to doing at this point. As soon as the bomb boulders in the middle explode, run to them and get out of the way of any other bombs about to explode. Then you get back to beating on Titan. You may figure, hey, we just had bomb boulders. We're not going to be seeing them again anytime soon. And how wrong you are. These are affectionately referred to as the super bombs. They all dropped at the same time, and there is no room to dodge. You're not going to be dodging them. You're going to be killing one, because there's no other way to dodge this. The standard is the one at the far south side of the arena. Why Titan is being tanked to the northeast is beyond me. He should be being tanked to the north. We all go opposite him and start beating on the bomb boulder to the south, which is the one I've started beating on here. A couple people got confused and started attacking the one to the southwest. I don't know why, but whatever, as long as we're all on the same page. Now, of note, normally you'd be used to having to dodge a landslide while bomb boulders are up, but nay, not this time. Here, you have to dodge plumes. So even though you've got to kill that bomb boulder as fast as possible, stack and be ready to dodge plumes. It's not a double plume or anything, you just dodge once and then get right back in on it. I don't know how I got hit by those, but I'm hurt a little bit, so I'm going to heal. With it dead, we're crowding to the far corner of the arena because we don't want to get hit by their explosions, and you've seen Titan just leap up into the air. Which means, very shortly after they explode, hopefully you're safe, Titan's gonna crash the ground using Geo Crush, so be ready for that as well. You're not out of the pain wheel just because you managed to dodge the bomb boulders. Very shortly after that, he will use a 5-way landslide, and then he will summon the Granite Jailers again. At this point, the fight repeats. You're taking down the Jailers, just as you did the first time. Be aware of where the bomb boulders are. Run to where the second one dropped, so you can dodge the first one. Run back there. I'm just standing in the mud because I don't have anywhere else to go. Landslide on him. Now we do have a full limit gauge bar if I could get out of the plume. And now that I'm pretty sure we've got half a second, actually we don't have half a second because he's going to be summoning the jails soon. And knowing he was going to use the jails soon, I opted not to limit break. I'm going to free this person from the jail, free the other person from the jail, dodge landslide as needed, run right back up to him, and then I'm going to limit. And thus ends Titan Extreme. This is, without a doubt, the most difficult of the Extreme Mode Primals, even harder than the final. I suppose we'll be getting to that soon enough, though. I would like to pause for just a moment and apologize for the quality of the video. I know this is a lot lower quality than a lot of the other videos that I've recorded. I'm not entirely sure why, but Fraps has decided to completely crap all over Final Fantasy when I try to record. The game crawls down to 1 frame per second, if not half a frame per second. And it'll run for a good 20-30 seconds before it knocks itself down. I don't know what the cause of the problem is. I had to record this fight at half resolution in order to actually get this recorded. I don't know what the problem is. But that does mean I may be putting these videos on hold until I figure out what the problem is and can record these again. I do have a number of recordings in store already, so you will still be getting another few from here on, but I won't be able to record any new videos until I figure this problem out. So until next time, everyone.